All right. Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome. We are going to give it just a minute until we get started here. Zach, let's do a quick audio test. Are you there?
I am testing 1, 2.
Oh, there's that beautiful voice. And I take you can hear me loud and clear.
Yes, I can hear you just fine.
Perfect. All right. Well, it is one after. Let's go ahead and get started. We are going to deviate from what we've done. RYTHMz has got a series of webinars. This is the first of the series that we're deviating from our learning to a success panel or inviting people in the channel to talk, people who are partners, people who've got success with RYTHMz, to ask a few questions, see what they're doing and how they're doing things with 5G and specifically with RYTHMz. So with that said, we've got Zach. And I'm going to let Zach introduce himself in a minute. But just so we all know the agenda, like I said, we'll do introductions. And then right after introductions, go into a couple questions. It's a 30-minute webinar. Really want to dive into how are MSPs monetizing RYTHMz? How do you price RYTHMz or 5G? When you get into the engagement, whether it's a existing customer who's a friendly or a prospect, what are some of the objections? And get to hear from an expert, Zach, on overcoming some of those objections. And then we've got a couple other additional questions, like maybe some field stories and some other thoughts of 5G in the future. So with that, let's get into it. My name, Leonard Dimiceli, channel chief here at RYTHMz. Just a couple funny things, I guess. Yes, I may have lost a jacket or two. Thanks for the reminder, Kristen, in an Uber. I have been in the MSP channel for a while. Originally started as an MSP and then started and sold a company called Spam Soap Nuvoltera many years ago. Was pretty successful there. And I don't know if it's embarrassing, but my parents did set me up on my only blind date, which ended up in a marriage. The others I'm not going to pay any attention to because I will move on. 5G RYTHMz. For those of you who are not partners on the webinar, RYTHMz is a 5G solution, and that box you're looking at has all the components to bring Wi-Fi to either an indoor company or outside to an event. We have short-term solutions, we have long-term solutions. We can be your primary internet with 3 different carrier solutions. We can be a short-term stopgap for oh crap, someone cut the fiber, hurry up, we need a stopgap solution. So that has an antenna. It has a SD-WAN with 3 bonded or more bonded SIM cards. The SIM cards are unlimited data from AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. So a quick high level of who RYTHMz is. We make it super easy to monetize and get in the business of making money from the internet or from 5G. So that's a little bit about me, a little bit about RYTHMz. And now for the man who I call a friend, super funny dude. He is a RYTHMz partner as well, but first a friend. Zach, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, and I'm going to leave these bullet points up, and I may grab one and ask you about them.
No problem. Well, first of all, thanks everyone for joining the webinar. My name is Zachary Kinder. I'm the president of NetTech Consulting. I'm coming up on my 17th year in the channel. I began my career as outsourced customer service for AT&T, actually. And then, at the ripe old age of 21, I found my MSP, and I've been here ever since. I've worked every position in the company, and now I'm the president. It's been a pretty epic ride, and I can't wait to see what happens next. Um, like it says on here, my entire wardrobe is entirely partner branded boot swag. I think I own maybe 2 or 3 shirts that don't have brand logos on it. Um, I really do like my black hat. I got it in Vegas. It's kind of my lucky hat. There was a period there where I lost it for a few years,
Ooh.
and they got it back. So after the pandemic, it's kind of a weird story, but yeah, it's kind of my lucky hat. It's a little hot though. I've decided to stop wearing it as much. As you can see, I've transitioned to a different style hat. It's
I
a
was
little
going to
more.
ask you, Zach, is the favorite hat the one you're wearing or the one in the picture?
The favorite hat is the one in the picture, but it's so hot that I can't really take it anywhere. So it's just kind of it's my special moment hat, when hopefully it's freezing outside. So,
There you go.
love me some dad jokes, and, you may or may not have heard me drop a few D's these times, or,
Let me hear
from
your
here to there.
favorite D's. What's your favorite D's?
My favorite D's joke would have to probably be "both was looking for you." That's a classic right there. But there's several others that I unfortunately cannot share today.
Both of
For
D's. All right. I'm
yes,
not going to
indeed.
ask the Captain
Punchline.
Obvious. All right. Hey, where are you located, and is there a vertical you focus on, Zach?
Yeah, so we are located in Texas. I am currently in our Dallas, Texas office, but our HQ is in El Paso. As far as the vertical we focus on, really any vertical that is dependent on, you know, uptime to run their business. So like manufacturing, oil and gas, legal, healthcare. I mean, we really don't have a singular focus of, hey, we only do this. That's just not, we're not in that business. So
Gotcha. Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, good. Thank you for participating. Thank you for signing up to ask and answer a couple questions about rhythms and 5G. We're going to move
My
on.
pleasure. Do
What's that?
anything for you guys. I said it's my pleasure. I'd do anything for you guys.
We appreciate that, especially hanging
Of
out at the
course.
booth, man. You make
Yeah,
trade shows
absolutely.
a whole lot funner.
Thank you. Appreciate that. More fun, I think,
All
is the word
right.
you're looking
So
for.
Zach, you've done some business with us. How
Mhm.
how have you marketed? How have you packaged the solution? And we'll go through maybe a couple of these questions, but give me an idea of how you've monetized, how you've sold rhythms thus far, and how are you pricing it?
So, from a marketing perspective, we focus pretty heavily on marketing this to our existing customer base. And as far as how we packaged it, I think everyone thinks that when they have fiber that they're covered, right? We even had one client that I won't name, that had two fiber circuits, and one day the fiber from one circuit was cut, and it wound up affecting the other one as well. And then we found out later that the both circuits were owned by the same company, even though they were paying two separate companies. So, so from a positioning standpoint, the way we position rhythms is we say, it's fiber level quality service without, you have the low latency of 5G, without the risk of being tied to a single carrier. So, um, as far as where the product fits in, I would say, again, anywhere where there's need for SD-WAN or a secondary internet connection, Rhythms absolutely fits the bill. And given the three carrier scope that you bring to the table, it really brings the comfort of not having to rely on a single failover carrier, because you just never know, right? Um, and as far as the need is concerned, again, it's just going to be anywhere where you've got to have that extra internet, or in some cases and in some locations, if you just need internet period and there's nothing else there. I mean, I've been in situations where Rhythms has helped us deliver connectivity to rural areas that don't have fiber or don't have any other options. So
Interesting. You mentioned the first thing was the primary and the secondary being the same. It is
Yeah.
crazy how common I hear that, and I'll ask. We'll do calls. We'll do, for some of the younger partners who aren't as experienced, and we're trying to help them, in their pitching. I'll be on a call and we'll ask what the secondary is, and it's the same as the primary, and you're thinking, so if the primary goes out, the secondary's going out.
Well, right. And it has to be a big enough cut sometimes. But yeah, I mean, you could have a physical situation that absolutely is going to take down both. And then what? Then you're going to be, your customer's going to be up your back saying, why is my internet not working? And
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, you
You
brought
know.
up two others, which is really interesting and far more common. We see them is, oh crap, internet is down. Someone cut the fiber. What happened
Mhm.
outside? And this is, like you mentioned, this is a great stopgap for the, MSPs will take these and they hold them, they carry them, they're at their office like you've done, or we can ship these things overnight to you or to the address of the location where internet's gone down. You also mentioned, where internet is not at, and another very common one, and I know you've seen this is, hey Zach, we're moving at the beginning of the month, and it's the 24th, and I just found out Spectrum's telling me it's 6 weeks, 8 weeks.
That is so common, and in fact, that's one of the first ways you guys helped us. We had a client where they knew they were moving for 3 months. We were not really involved in that we weren't asked to be involved. We got asked to be involved, I think, a week before the building went live, and they're like, "Can you get us internet?" And we did, thanks to you guys. And I think it ran in there for like another 2 or 3 months. So,
Yeah.
absolutely tremendous stopgap solution.
Yeah,
So,
we see that quite often. All right. So you've marketed in different,
and
has
let me
it
just
been,
talk.
oh,
Go ahead. No,
no,
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Hold that thought. But what I was going to say, talking about pricing, a lot of MSPs, I mean, you know, we don't get the benefit of the money when it comes to a lot of ISP connections. I mean, yeah, you have your Sandlers and your, other master resellers of the world, right? Where they're giving you a commission on, whatever you pass through or so on and so forth. But you have very few opportunities as an MSP to get top line revenue, control the financial situation, and to be able to deliver, decent margins. I mean, we're talking 20, 30, possibly even 40 points margin here, for a service that you're going to have to deal with anyway. So I think from a pricing perspective, that's where RYTHMz also really shines. Is it gives the MSP control of their margins,
you,
on something that, again, they're going to have to deal with anyway, and
yeah,
time is money.
Zach, we say
So
that. I say it in my calls all the time, is when internet goes down, you're taking that call. You're the trusted advisor. I can't access my cloud apps. What's going on? Well,
right.
you're not in that middle. You're not monetizing the internet. And to your point with RYTHMz, you can. You're the one that's they're, hey, trouble fix this, figure out what happened. Oh, it's not me. It's your internet service provider, and I didn't pick that. It's not me. It's outside, and that always doesn't look great for you. But now MSPs can sit in the middle of it and monetize, whether it's for events or whether it's for a company, primary or backup. All right,
100%.
Zach. How about the next question? So you've moved some of our product. You've sold them short term and long term. You've sold this to existing customers. You've talked to prospects about RYTHMz. When you're in the sales process, help me understand, or help the folks listening in, help them understand whether it's the sales process or even some of the objections you hear, and more commonly hear from whether it's a friendly customer or a prospect.
So, the sales objections I typically get are going to usually always be surrounding price. the way I overcome it, and this is pretty textbook because I think this is how a lot of MSPs try to overcome objections, but I really just get them to look at what the cost will be per hour for them to not have internet and to not be productive. And
That's
it's
good.
usually vastly more than the cost of the backup. So that's really the main and primary way I overcome objections. Is I just make them realize the financial implications of a total down event.
You know, one of my slide decks, Zach, to this point, I talk about the cost per hour for SMB starts off at around 85,000 and it climbs up. Enterprise goes into 100,000 and more per hour.
Mm,
It goes into the millions per hour enterprise. Most of our clients, most of your clients, probably mid-market SMB. So
mhm.
not cheap. Starting off at, we see, you know, like I said, 8,000 up to 88,000 is some of the numbers we're seeing. And the average outage is the research telling us is 90 minutes. Right. So
Right.
to your point, if I'm a business who's live doing VoIP and we're doing calls, like maybe a mortgage house, they're doing phone calls, whatever the end user is, the cost of downtime and the average downtime is 90 minutes. You do that math and, you know, for the cost of a RYTHMz box, it like to your point.
Yeah, and the rhythms box costs nothing by comparison. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Now, are you seeing in your objections, is it
Mhm.
just the cost? Is cost the primary, and you may have other objections that you've seen or heard? And then if so,
No, if so, what? I'm sorry.
if so, how have you resolved or worked through them?
I mean, really, I don't think anybody objects to the idea of having a failover, right? I think it just boils down to cost and will it work. So I haven't seen any other objections besides that.
Got it. All right.
Yeah.
Some of the
So
ones that I've seen are,
yeah,
um,
tell me.
yeah, it's, you know, cost is one of them by far. Another
Hmm.
objection that we're hearing from, you know, whether it's the MSP or the end user is you know, the box. We've got this, where's this box going to live? And that can be easy. We can put it in the telco with an antenna. We can put it in an external wall. For performance issues, but we can resolve that quite easy. That's another one.
Hmm.
Starlink is a big one. Starlink, and I don't know if you've heard Starlink, but Starlink is one, and upload speed and weather are the two beaters for that.
Well, and the issues I have with Starlink, right? So let's say my phone is me on the ground. As satellite passes over, eventually I'm gonna drop. It's not gonna be for long. I'll pick up the next satellite as it comes along. But I've seen VoIP inconsistency issues with Starlink, where calls will
Interesting.
just drop or have little
I
blips in
like
them.
that visual. I
So
like that visual because the satellite is moving, right? And yes, you've got
yeah,
a gajillion of those things up there, but it is moving. And do you drop and then pick up on the next one? We see the
right.
big is upload because the upload speeds and then the performance. Those are the two. That one's interesting about the moving
Well,
of the satellite.
and not to trash my boy Elon Musk here, but their customer service is not good. If you have issues, you're gonna have. I personally have had issues with Starlink support at some sites that customers have opted for Starlink. It's all like a little chat box on your phone, and you just gotta hope and pray that they'll help you.
Yeah,
And a lot of
interesting.
times, if you're not paying for the super mega package, whatever that ends up being, they're not going to give you great and wonderful, excellent support.
Yeah.
So you know,
Since you brought it up, I'll ask.
yeah.
Um, a minute, 2 minutes, a minute or less. Walk me through when you've needed support, because it's not if, it's when you need support from technology, right? Any technology. What has your support experience been like with RYTHMz?
Um, to use an idiom that I think we're all familiar with, it has been absolutely Johnny on the spot.
Johnny on the spot.
Johnny on the spot, yeah. It's been fantastic.
You could have said Lenny on the spot, but we'll take Johnny on the spot.
Or Stevie on the spot. I don't know. Whatever you want to call it.
So do we pick up the phone, or is it are you emailing? Are you texting? What's the what is it like?
So I would say it's phone, text the helpline. I've never had to really do an email. You know, I come from a generation. I mean, I'll be 38 on Thursday.
Wow, you're so old.
So yeah, well, you know, I have to say I think I'm like the last of the Mohicans of people that actually prefer like, hello, how can I help you? Like I come from that world, you know, that's where I started. I started on the phone. So for me, having somebody that will pick up the phone feels good to me.
Yeah.
I like talking to people. So for me, it's okay to get someone on the phone and feel like I'm getting instant resolution. It may be the same if I texted or emailed. The response time probably would end up being the same, but there's just a certain like chef's kiss about being able to call somebody. And y'all are the chef's kiss in that department. It's just been fantastic. I really, really appreciate the ability to be able to call somebody, and you guys have absolutely delivered on that. And anytime, it does not matter. Like if it's 4 a.m, if it's midnight, it does not matter. If I'm having a problem, RYTHMz is on it. So
you know,
yes, a certain je ne sais quoi. Exactly. 100%. I wanted to say that, but
that's awesome.
100%.
Awesome.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So having started this company, being an MSP, and then serving MSPs from a vendor, both Steve, the founder, and myself, I feel like we know how MSPs want and need to be treated, and what you've just described is why we have the support we have. So
right.
Absolutely critical. All right. So last question for you, and there are potentially a couple depending on time. Has RYTHMz saved the day? How what is RYTHMz? Give me a field story of, and you mentioned one, and there may be a couple, but where have we come in and been a stopgap, been a help, been a lifesaver, been a fix because of, walk me through maybe a story, maybe different than the one earlier, of a real world Zach selling RYTHMZ story.
Yeah, so we had a client that was out in the country in New Mexico, like just in the back, like just off the beaten path, really hard to get to. They were moving one of their employees to like a shed, like just down the road. And they needed to do that ASAP. So we brought in RYTHMz to make that happen. So RYTHMz really stepped up and saved the day there. We were able to deliver them a circuit quickly. Because realistically, at the end of the day, and I've always said this, but our clients, they don't really care about all the reports and metrics and all this stuff that we do for them. All they care about is how they feel about us. And I think that RYTHMz helps deliver good vibes and good feelings, and to keep the relationship in rhythm. Hey, see what I did there? But yeah, no, I mean, again, they don't care that it's 5G or that it has, 5 SIM cards in it and it does SD-WAN and all that. All they care about is it solved. So, so we had a pretty big win there. We had another client where, and I can mention this briefly earlier, where they had Spectrum and AT&T and they thought they were good. Fiber went out on Spectrum, and it turns out that AT&T owns the fiber, so AT&T was out too. And so RYTHMz. Well, we were able to do two things there. We had one of our boxes in the closet that you guys give us to have on standby. We were able to, to come in and provide them emergency internet, and then now it's the secondary internet there.
Yeah.
And then the last and I feel like best story, and again, we touched on it earlier, but there are some folks that joined this webinar a little late, so I'll go back for their benefit. We had a client that the building was supposed to go live. We knew about it. There was somebody at the company that was handling the internet, and it turns out they didn't. And so 1 week before go live, I got an email from the vice president of IT saying, "Hey, how can we get some internet over there?" And yeah, RYTHMz really stepped up and helped us save the day over there too. And that wound up being like the primary internet for a solid at least a month or two, while we worked to get the fiber in the building. So
Nice.
um,
Good.
just again, and I mean, insane turnaround. I mean, right now I could literally jump off this webinar with you guys, get on the phone with someone at RYTHMz and say, "Hey, I need a box at so and so's place tomorrow," and it will be there ready to go.
Yeah.
Like that hasn't changed, and I have the confidence in RYTHMz that y'all will deliver that for us anytime, anywhere I ask for it, and
Right.
that by that virtue, it now allows me to be confident with my clients when they need it. So
We appreciate that. And Zach, as a reminder for those who are listening, we have two models. One model is what you've described. It's the, oh crap, fill in the blank reason why I need a box overnight. And we can do that. We could do same day for a handful of cities in the country, but overnight is a very common. The other is MSPs will actually have these. They pay for a monthly in the event that there's an outage, that someone's got hacked, someone's moving, backup, primary went down, they don't have a backup. They've got a box that they can roll out there. And we even have MSPs. I don't know if I've shared this with you, Zach, but we have MSPs who will take possession of the box, increase the monthly fee as a premium for their customers, and have like an SLA, depending on the service area, have an SLA of like 2, 3, 4 hours, and they can drop the box off and you're live, but you're paying a premium. So
right.
yeah, you're right. Most common is, oh my gosh, send the thing overnight. So, all right, we're gonna land the plane. We've got T-minus 2 minutes, Zach. Sincerely appreciate the time. Like I've
Just my
said,
pleasure.
yeah, RYTHMz is truly an internet in the box. It's a solution that could be short-term, long-term. Someone cut the fiber, you're moving buildings, you need a secondary, you need a backup. It's got bonded, it's truly bonded, which means the SIM cards are sending traffic, so it's a hot failover. The use cases, you've heard them throughout the webinar here, whether it's a stopgap. The one we haven't really mentioned a ton, Zach, which is fine, is events. This is a great event revenue stream. We've got MSPs who are doing events as a vertical, whether it's an indoor or an outdoor event. You can be that ISP, you can be that managed 5G as a service for that event. I help MSPs all the time do go-to-market strategies. More than happy to do that with you as well. Zach mentioned 24/7 support. We treat MSPs because we were birthed out of an MSP. Our DNA, our pedigree comes from that MSP world. And then right here, if you want to get a hold of me, we'll sit here for a minute. If you want to get a hold of me, once again, my name's Leonard Dimiceli, channel chief with RYTHMz. You've got my email or my phone number there. That's our website. Zach Kinder, once again, for those listening, is a friend and a partner. He's got locations throughout the country, fairly large MSP. You see his telephone number as well as his email and website.
Thank you all for
Zach,
joining.
I'm going to leave you with a parting word. Anything, and Zach, handing the mic to you. Whatever you want to end this webinar, the floor is yours.
Just check out RYTHMz today, guys. They're awesome. So that's all I got for you guys. Thank you.
All right. Well, with that, we're going to conclude the webinar. For those who showed up and are on, we'll send this out. If you have any questions for Zach or myself, please, you've got my email address there. We will be sending out the webinar to the folks who attended as well as registered. So with that, thank you and have a good rest of your day.